Praise the Lord. Once again, welcome to our morning devotion. We thank God for another morning that He has given unto us, and He has chosen us that we may hear His voice this day. Thank you for choosing to watch and even to listen to this devotion. It is by God's grace that we are here this morning. Yesterday, we talked about challenges that are facing Christian families, not necessarily challenges, but what should what is our responsibility as members of a Christian family? And one, we talked about creating awareness that the devil is alert to ensure that Christian families are breaking and there is difficulty in living as a Christian. We touched on communication and we read Deuteronomy 11 verse 19 about what we should do to our family members. We said the first family was begun by God, and it is a covenant and intention of God to ensure that Christian families live in unity. In many families today, members talk too much, but unfortunately, they don't talk to each other. Once they get home, the members are too busy with different activities. Others are, yes, present, but maybe carried away by social media, buried in computers and in phones, not having time for family. Most of the parents, they don't even have time for their children, and their children are struggling with their own issues which need to be discussed, but many are the times that they are neglected. God intended that a Christian family, there will be obedience and cooperation. They should, the members of a Christian family should set guidelines on how they should stay, have a communication, share with one another once they are at home. Christian families should also set aside time of worship. That is time to commune with God, communicate with God, and have a time even to teach their children. The Bible reminds us in Deuteronomy that we should teach the book of the law to our children when we are seated, when we are walking, when we are in the farm, when we are, we should write this book of the law at the forehead. We should tie it at the wrist of our hands. He was just letting them know the importance of communicating Christian doctrines to our children and to our family members so that we may live as God intended. God intended a Christian family to be a family that is united, a family that has a common goal, a family that sets aside a time to commune with God. Christian family also should set time for discussion on personal goals. As we sit together, a couple should discuss issues of personal goals, and also they should discuss with children. They should also set aside time for to discuss personal struggles. Many are the challenges that we face in our different places of work, different places where we go for our businesses. When our children go to school, colleges, and university, they also meet challenges. Therefore, families should set aside time to discuss these struggles and look for solution. Then they also look for a time for personal safety and also discuss disappointments. The world we are living in, our enemy, the devil, is working so hard to ensure that we get disappointments. When we want to struggle and achieve our goals, then he brings things to set us back or setbacks to ensure that we are not making it. Therefore, family members should be aware of all these strategies of the enemy and set aside time for discussion, communication, talking, sharing with one another. They should also share about friendship. Many a times that our young people are falling in this area of friendship and relationship. So a Christian family, they should sit down and talk about this issue openly so that youths may not be misled by the worldly teachings. They should also discuss about money. They should discuss about drugs and all other things that affect Christian families. A Christian family should learn how to listen, listening to one another. It is a skill that many people take for granted. But once you learn communication skill, then you also need to have time to listen to members of the family and create time even to just listen to them, give them an ear so that they can pour out challenges that they have been going through. In a Christian family, there should be a lot of self-control. Many breakages in family are coming as a result of people becoming paranoid and they are not able to control their tempers. So God's intention is to have a Christian family who are living with self-control, who are people who are slow to anger and people who are slow to speak. So it is a calling whereby everybody should work hard and ensure that they control themselves. Then in our family living, we are also called to be gentle to one another, because many a times that people are just quarreling using harsh words and they don't know how much they are affecting the other person. They should also have a positive conversation. Positive means that whenever there is a disagreement, then you should not use harsh words, but look for words which are going to solve the issue. And then when somebody does so well, then a Christian should know how to compliment so that our families may live in unity. When there is good communication in a family, it produces acceptance, it produces a sense of belonging, it replaces stress with satisfaction. So when communicating, Christian family members should use appropriate content, choose the right words, and be present so that others may enjoy the presence of every family member. Then another basic issue that will keep our Christian family together is creating boundaries. Creating boundaries. We shall read from the book of Proverbs, chapter 22 and verse 28. Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 28. They are sayings that were written by a wise man, King Solomon. And this saying says, "Do not move an ancient boundary stone set up by your ancestors." Now in Hebrew, this saying was made so that it can decree it was made to protect landowners and to prosecute trespassers who would trespass in other people's land. But for Christian family living, it is used for maintaining the moral boundaries established in the Bible. Issues such as self-respect, it requires you create boundaries. You respect yourself and respect others. So when we talk about boundaries, as in the Old Testament, they were talking about boundaries in the land. In Christian journey, then we need to know which boundaries are we supposed to keep. If you respect yourself, there are areas you cannot go. There are places you cannot speak. There are issues as a Christian family member you will try to control yourself. Those are the boundaries we are talking about. And also respect for each other. Many a times that people will not respect other people's opinion, other people's challenges, and this leads to quarrels. So in a Christian family, let us learn to create boundaries for respect for self and respect for one another. It is also good to know boundaries in marriages. For example, fidelity. People should be faithful. We said that the first marriage that God began in the Garden of Eden was between one wife and one husband. Then that is what we call fidelity, faithfulness in marriage. Then we should create boundaries. In the days we are living, very many marriages, people are not faithful. You find there are a lot of cases of adultery. And therefore, as a Christian family, the respect you give to your family is ensuring there is faithfulness and keeping boundaries so that you don't go overboard. Then you should also know how to keep boundaries on use of alcohol and any other form of liquor. Now, when we use too much alcohol as Christian families, or when we involve in drinking, there is a lot of breakages in our families. Therefore, Christians should control or even not use them at all, so that they may stand firm and avoid breaking of these families. Then we should also use kindness instead of abuse, so that we may have great families. Moral boundaries should not keep Christians confined, because there are some people who confine themselves so much in the name of moral boundaries, but they should protect Christian families and give them appropriate limits so that they boost their family worth. When we talk of these boundaries, it's good to know that they are not there to put you as a prisoner, but they are there to give you freedom of choice and ensure that your family as a Christian is a respected family. May God help us even as we continue to learn more about Christian families and more about how we should live in Christian family living. Have a blessed day.